The rain fell in silver sheets against the cracked window of their tiny apartment, and 12-year-old Noah pressed his forehead to the glass, watching the city blur into a river of light. Behind him, the low hum of his mother's sewing machine rattled tirelessly. Another late night, another mountain of work stitched from threadbare dreams. Noah's mother, Maria, had a quiet strength about her, the kind built not from loud victories, but from silent, everyday battles. A single mother with 2 jobs and a third, if you counted hope, she believed fiercely in one thing: knowledge was the only ladder tall enough to climb out of their circumstances. Noah, she would whisper as she tucked him into bed, her hands rough and warm from the day's labor, they can take anything from you, but not what you learn. Your mind is your freedom. But freedom seemed far away, a fairy tale written for other children. Noah struggled at school, embarrassed by the holes in his sneakers and the way hunger gnawed at his attention. It was easy to believe that the world had been written in a language he would never fully understand. One gray afternoon, as he lingered after school, Noah noticed an old man sitting by the library steps. His clothes were as worn as Noah's, but he was surrounded by books, towering piles of them, stacked like little fortresses. "Are you lost, boy?" the man asked with a raspy chuckle. Noah shrugged. "Maybe." The man's eyes, bright and keen, studied him. Then he slid a battered book across the bench. "Sometimes," he said, "what you're looking for is hidden right between the pages." Against every instinct that told him he didn't belong, Noah sat down. Day after day, he returned, and the man, who introduced himself only as Mr. Emerson, taught him how to read not just words, but ideas. History, science, poetry, whole worlds opened like windows in Noah's mind. At home, Maria noticed the change. She saw it in the way Noah's eyes lit up, the way he asked questions so big she sometimes had to sit down to answer. Despite her exhaustion, she encouraged him, finding old textbooks at thrift stores, saving pennies for notebooks. But just as Noah began to believe he might be capable of something greater, life threw its cruelest blow. Maria was laid off from her second job. Bills piled up. Eviction notices darkened their doorway. Noah overheard hushed, frightened phone calls at night. The future he had just begun to dream about seemed to slip further away with every unpaid bill. One night, as Maria wept quietly in the kitchen, Noah made a decision. He would not let his mother's sacrifices be in vain. He gathered the books Mr. Emerson had lent him and walked to the local community center. There, trembling, he offered to tutor younger kids who were struggling like he once had. At first, people scoffed. What could a poor boy teach? But slowly, word spread. Children who had given up began to find excitement in learning. Their grades improved. Their confidence soared. Parents took notice. Donations trickled in pencils, backpacks, a few old computers. The small tutoring group blossomed into a thriving after-school program. And with every child who learned to read, to solve a math problem, to dream beyond their neighborhood's boundaries, Noah felt a little spark of hope ignite. When a local newspaper ran a story about the boy who refused to give up, it caught the eye of a benefactor, a former educator who saw a bit of his own hungry younger self in Noah. Scholarships were offered. Opportunities bloomed. A door to a future no longer closed by poverty stood open. Years later, as Noah stood at the podium of his college graduation, the first in his family to do so, he searched the crowd for Maria. She stood near the back, tears streaming down her proud face, hands clasped over her heart. In his speech, Noah said simply, "My mother taught me that knowledge is power. Mr. Emerson taught me that it's meant to be shared. And today, I stand here because love, sacrifice, and learning are stronger than any hardship." The audience rose in applause, but Noah's eyes never left his mother's.